Hi, welcome to the third episode of the Javid Podcast. Today's guest is Maria Zagorulko. She's an old friend of mine. We studied at the same school in the UK between the years of 2016 and 2017. She's currently working at the Naked Energy Ltd, as a senior operations manager, I believe, right?
Engineer.
Engineer, my bad. And she has a chemical engineering degree from Imperial College London. Um, I kind of gave you a brief kind of introduction, but I want you to kind of introduce yourself, give us your background, tell us, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah,
Hi, everyone. And we should have done a little activity where you in the comments would say, "Oh, how do we know each other?" And then we do the poll, and it could be this whole activity. But you gave all the cards away.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria, and I'm currently um, working my way through renewables industry as an engineer. So
Mhm.
graduated Imperial with masters in chemical engineering and decided that renewable energy and ideation in renewable industries my cup of tea, and pursued that, and currently working in a startup that focuses on solar thermal energy, which is renewable,
Mhm.
and developing the product and working alongside brilliant people to develop the product, bring it to market it, and sell it, and all the bits and bobs surrounding that as well.
Sweet. And we already mentioned the chemical engineering, so I guess I'll start my first question
Mm,
from that. We're gonna kind of delve deep into your academic backgrounds, and we're gonna move on to your job and what that actually entails.
sure.
Where you study chemical engineering in the UK, right? Can you give us a brief explanation what chemical engineering is and what kind of coursework did you cover in your undergrad? And I know it's a math heavy course, but I wonder how much chemistry is involved in chemical engineering.
So I've always knew that I want to be a chemical engineer because I always wanted to solve the big problems in the world. I'm a big believer in solving problems and making the world a better place. And chemical engineering just struck me as something that I would enjoy doing and would leave me the pathway that I want to get on. So, making the
Hmm.
world a better place through solving engineering problems and being also interested and engaged in the chemical sphere. Lo and behold, chemical engineering did not involve any chemistry on minimal chemistry. Maybe I had two modules throughout my whole degree where we've done chemical analysis and biochemistry and chemistry that was directly linked to my course and what I was doing. But largely, as you correctly mentioned, chemical engineering is a very math heavy subject. Math and physics. Math and physics sort of join together to build your understanding of processes, of systems, and flow of those systems. So anything from heat transfer to fluid mechanics, that's what you learn in chemical engineering. And the chemical engineering degree equips you with understanding of reactors, understanding of separators, so all the systems that are vital for any plant that is either a pharmaceutical plant or a plant that is a refinery, plant that is producing food additives or any kind of products. So chemical engineering degree equips you with all the knowledge how to build that plant from scratch, which is brilliant because it's a very holistic degree. So you get an understanding of what is involved in process systems, but it's less of mechanics, it's less of robotics. So maybe people who would be interested in electronic side of things, that's not the degree for them. And in terms of coursework, what I loved about chemical engineering degree is the plethora of options that was given to us. Maybe just a specialty of my university that I went to, but it was always teamwork. coursework or individual coursework, but mostly teamwork, because I'm a big believer, and everyone in my sphere is a big believer of engineering being a team sport,
Mm-hmm.
where you come together with your expertise, with your knowledge, and you build something amazing, and you solve a problem, and you design a system that just helps people automate stuff or helps people live better. So coursework was the hardest one, and the final project was to build and design a solar plant from scratch. So you need to choose a patch of land. You need to choose why you are designing a solar plant there. You need to understand the logistics, design the logistics, understand the social economic background of the place, so you can say, okay, yes, it's a good place for a social plant to be built. And then you start the heavy part of the project, where you design the system: separators, reactors for silicon and silicon production, and then separators and wafer preparation devices, and and then you package it all in one big coursework piece, and then you market it, as well as designing the whole system. You market it and you sell it. So that's the hardest one I've done. But the most exciting one I've done was to do with carbon capture, and that involved us as a group understanding how carbon capture plant works and being able to operate it safely. So the coursework was around sort of understanding what different valves do, the pipe work, and operating it correctly. So yeah, it's a real mix of things, but it gives you the most holistic understanding of the systems. Yeah.
I see. When you said your project was solar energy, was it? Did you choose that, or did they assign? Like, was it a general thing for everybody?
It was not a general thing. So some people had a production of drugs, or it was an
Mhm.
oil refinery to be built from scratch. And somehow, by the aligning of stars in the British sky,
Mhm.
I got the solar plant
So,
system
so,
while working for Naked Energy at that same time. So it was the whole meant to be moment where I was like, oh my God, I can actually put my knowledge to test and show my future employer that I'm capable and this is what I can do, and how
okay,
well I can do it in
you
a group.
mentioned something interesting. You said while working. So, were you
Mhm.
doing your masters while working?
So I was doing my master's, as well as not volunteering, but interning at
Okay.
Naked Energy and being a support engineer for their systems, which was very exciting. And it kept me on my toes because it was a direct link between my theoretical understanding of
Mm.
engineering world and practical world of engineering. It was very, very interesting, very stimulating. Yeah.
I say, is it a normal thing to intern and do your masters at the same time, or is no?
No, I don't think so anyway. But I really wanted industrial experience. I wanted
Mhm.
um, to see if that industry is for me, and I chose that lifestyle because, first of all, I really wanted to get into the industry as quickly as I could,
Okay.
and I wanted to learn as quickly as I could.
Okay. Sweet. Um, as you mentioned, and also from our past conversations, I remember when I first arrived in college, and we had a conversation. You were like, "Yeah, I'm very interested in renewable energy and all that."
Yeah. Oh, great. I'm a
Yeah,
master of my habits. Yeah.
yeah, I remember. You're very consistent. Let's just say that.
Mm.
So, do you think you made the right decision with your degree in terms of your interest, right? Because I know you said that chemical engineering is great, but do you think there's potential something else out there, maybe like just pure chemistry or something else that would have been better choice? And also, what can high school students do in terms of their, like subject choices and extracurricular pursuits to determine whether chemical engineering is the right choice for them? Because, like in America, for example, you have an option to explore, right? Like you don't have to decide your major until the end of your second year. Obviously, you have to take certain classes, but it's not as rigid as in
Yeah.
UK British system. In UK, you gotta know what you want to study before university. So, what can people do to, if not even UK, I think in most countries, it's a similar way. Like you have to decide before going to university. So what people can do in terms of their classes and extracurricular activities to explore and make sure that it's actually the right degree for them.
Sure. Very good question, because I would love to be given that piece of advice prior to starting my A levels, my university journey. Um, uh, to start from the end of your question, if you want to see if engineering is for you, and especially chemical engineering, you have to understand: do you like math? Do you like heavy mathematical calculations, and do you like being given problems to solve? Do you like
Mhm.
that? And do you
Mhm.
like heavily logical um, process solving? Um, Process solving extracurricular activities or subjects in your high school and your middle school, to understand if you are fit for an engineering degree. So that's just first part of the first part of the answer that I'm going to give to that. So see if problem solving entices you, see if
Mhm.
that excites you, see if you are quick to learn, quick to find ways how to automate systems, or if you are a person who loves building stuff, probably
Mhm.
engineering is indeed for you. And if you are a fan of math, you're good to go. In terms of chemical engineering, I don't think there is a specific golden rule what to follow in order to understand if that's for you. But definitely, it's a combination. If you like understanding of processes, like if you
Mhm.
want to understand processes better, and or if you find yourself being very interested in pharmaceuticals and oil and gas, or renewables, I think chemical engineering is a good degree to pursue. What I wish I knew before is that e- mechanical engineering is much more applicable at times to my industry, to solar and solar thermal
Mhm.
industry, because having the edge of mechanical engineering and understanding of sort of this fundamentals of engineering, because mechanical engineering, I would say, follows the most simple, the most fun, basic principles of engineering without any deviations. I would think that would be a greater option to pursue, especially if you're interested in wind turbines as an option for renewables, or if you're interested in things like HEP, so hydroelectric power stations. That
Mhm.
could be for you, and photovoltaics. So once again, but chemical engineering gives you the edge of understanding of renewable energy systems outside of the technology. Yeah, so you can teach yourself the technology, but then you can apply the knowledge from your background how to get to that technology. Yeah, because you know the system flow, you know the process flow. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Really cool. And I guess, in your opinion, what should budding engineers
Mm.
focus on if they're entering the renewable energy sector? How can they make themselves a competitive um, kind of applicant to that industry?
Great question. First of all, be open to every
Mhm.
to opportunities. So don't just one day wake up and say, "Oh my God, I really want to do nuclear, and I will be doing that as my career choice."
Mhm.
Be open. Yes, you might have amazing, massive passion for nuclear, and you will find your way to that industry. But having predispositions and prejudices against other renewable energies is going to set you back, because
Mhm.
yes, having one particular favorite is great,
Mhm.
but if you position yourself in a flexible, open mindset, you will find that having an internship in solar will equip you with skills for wind power
Mhm.
engineering, and then it will equip you with knowledge for hydrogen power stations. So it's also intertwined and linked. And then, so for newbies, for people entering the industry, I think having exposure to different renewable energy systems, and not just having a laser focused idea of what they should be designing, is the biggest advice that I could give, as well as the competitive edge would be reading up on the latest research, reading up of what is happening in the industry in terms of storage, batteries, advances in materials, right? Because solar industry has been massively altered after perovskite came into the market and became commercially available. Things are happening with BIPV, which is building integrated photovoltaics, which are just those gorgeous panels that look like windows and can be aesthetically very, very pleasing. So yeah, be curious, be curious, be inquisitive to your market and research latest advances, and this will give you more passion and more understanding where you want to go, and of course give you a competitive edge while applying for a job, place, research opportunity, masters, etc.
Is it hard to find internships in that sector?
So I'm based in the UK, so I can only talk about the local market. I would say it is quite hard because there are still limited amount of companies that engineer or possess sustainability industry mindset. So I would say there are limited spaces right now, but there are more and more startups to which you can apply and to which you can apply renewable energy solutions, etc. And I would say it's emerging market still, so it's not very profound. It's not very it's not very set in stone yet. Yeah, it's not very established. It's coming more and more to the industry of energy generation. So I think it's going to be more and more established in upcoming years. But it's yeah, so not so many opportunities, but hopefully there will be more in the future. Definitely.
I see. And you mentioned about like staying up to date with the technology and the research. Do you use any particular like science magazines, or like any particular news websites or whatever is that to stay up to date?
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna be boring. I read PV magazine. That's what is that's what the name is, and it just tells you all about latest big projects, installation, exciting applications of PV, and big players sort of talking about their industrial advances, etc. So that's very interesting. But also, if you are looking for sources of information, go and look for newsletters on LinkedIn. There are amazing pages out there that are sustainability focused, and they link to the newest reports from international energy agencies, for example, IEA, or SEA, which is Solar Industrial Association. So LinkedIn is amazing rabbit hole to go through if you want to learn more, because this will link to newsletters and up-to-date research and reports. So I would recommend checking that out.
Sounds good. And kind of like rewinding back to one of our original questions, you, besides your grades and your academic performance, what do you think was the most useful and helpful thing in helping you landing your kind of like internship or like your job,
Right. This is a very tricky question, right? So I want to say my amazing personality, but I don't think that would cut the.
You do have a good personality. I'll give you that.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I think that curiosity that my employer saw in me, so that edge of me where I was curious about the technology. I wanted to learn more than anything else about the technology and be useful and be inquisitive, be sort of modern thinking, open-minded about what's going to happen in that startup. I think that gave me competitive advantage over other candidates, but also I very early on I showed persistence. So resilience and persistence are something that's very valued in any market, in any job. And so I would say I'm talking about all the soft skills. In terms of hard skills and qualifications, I think stuff that I did outside of my university, so engineering projects that were linked to renewable energy. So I was taking part in many Imperial College clubs that are renewable energy focused. So building solutions there and showing that I can think critically and I can apply logical thinking to real engineering problems. I think that's something that was greatly valued by my future
Okay.
employer.
Do they conduct, and this would be my final question about that, but I'm just curious, do they conduct like technical interviews in terms of like, do they ask you to solve some math problems and stuff?
So because I entered Naked Energy as an intern,
Mm-hmm.
that was a interview that entailed me talking about my past experiences, what I
Mm-hmm.
can do, and where my professional skills lie in terms of software, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of hands-on
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I think, just skill-based interview in terms of explaining what you can do. There
Mm-hmm.
was no technical element, but I think now,
No, okay.
knowing how the hiring process goes currently, which I'm past that, thankfully, they do ask about applications of knowledge and how you would solve a problem in the industry that we are positioned in.
Okay, sweet. Um, you pursued your education at Imperial College London, and it's a great school. It's one of the top schools in the world. But I'm wondering, do you have any regrets or complaints about your educational experience, or you're completely happy? And do you think pursuing it in the UK, in particular at the Imperial, was the right decision? Like, was it good for your kind of like career aspirations?
Right. So I'm doing my homework. No, in fact, Imperial was amazing for me. How did I choose it? Obviously, it's the best university in the UK for chemical engineering, and not only that, the kids listening to this and all the
Like,
people listening to this, do your research. Do
like,
your research on the degree you're going to pursue. Do your research on the university you're going to
mhm,
go to, because so many people just say PPE in Oxford and they don't do any preliminary
mhm,
research on what
mhm,
is going to give them, who is teaching them, what are
mhm,
the career outcomes, what are the coursework options, etc. Do
mhm,
your research, please.
mhm,
So I've done my research, and I quickly learned that Imperial is one of the only schools which offers renewable energy modules in
mhm,
later years of
mhm,
undergraduate degree.
mhm,
And obviously that was a given green light for me straight away, but also the amount of modules that were data driven and research driven was prevailing. It was great to see that modern way of teaching is uh, appraised in Imperial and is supported and is given green light to go and in a teaching environment. So no, I don't have any complaints or regrets. If a person choosing to go to Imperial, they need to understand that it's not a campus based university, right? So it's not it's a little hub in the heart of London that is composed of engineering schools and science schools, etc. But it's not a campus university. And if you are looking for that standard university experience, maybe Imperial is not for you. That's the only thing. But otherwise, for me, the fact that it was situated in the heart of London, that gave me opportunity to explore what I really love doing. And what I love is art, and I love museums, and I
yeah,
love
that's like museums, yeah, for sure.
so that they gave me so many options in terms of my social life and my hobbies, that I was just grateful for my university
Yeah.
experience,
How did
however non-standard that was.
How did you find out about your late undergrad year modules?
How did I find out?
Yeah, you said you
Um,
did your research and
so you go on Imperial website and you type in chemical engineering
okay.
undergrad, and it's pretty straightforward. They either link you to the main page, which is chemical engineering subpage, and they give you actual name of modules, what it's gonna look like in terms of teaching hours, coursework, exam structure, and the professor that's teaching it, and you can go the rabbit hole of researching them and seeing what they do. So yeah, the research is
Online.
open online, yeah, and you can just go through that to help you understand what if it's right for you or not.
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much. Very informative. Um, how necessary is an advanced qualification, such as like a master's or PhD degree in your field, and
Mhm.
can you advance without them? You know, I mean, I'm sure you can advance because you know you're doing a great job so far, but you don't have masters. Because I believe in college like Imperial College London, you graduate with a master's degree. It's MEng. You know, it's not a bachelor. But like, I wonder how important masters or PhD degrees in chemical engineering.
In chemical engineering, depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to be in academia, PhD is probably your way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would say that if you want to be in a position to design,
Mm-hmm.
implement, and bring to life your engineering ideas or ideas of the team, I would say you need some heavily academic technical background, such as master's or undergraduate engineering degree under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've seen most exceptional engineers
Mm-hmm.
that completed either apprenticeship or they went to an engineering based company straight away after their high school. And those people I look up to, they are naturally built as engineers. They're amazing at what they do. They're natural problem solvers, and something that I really admire. So no, I don't think you need a heavily academic background to excel at what you
Mm-hmm.
do. You can be an apprentice. You can be straight fresh out of high school and go into work and then build up your expertise and be amazing engineer that is able to carry a team and lead innovation. But if you are looking to be highly um, in a highly precision required environment, I would say you need mathematical technical background
Mm-hmm.
in your formative years.
Makes sense. Um, and you know, you find your interest has always been renewable energy, and you find your
Mm.
kind of like a niche, and you find your company within that. But outside of that, I mean, I feel like with such a technical background, you can literally move into anything. But what kind of career options are available to chemical engineers, like from your cohort, maybe from your friends that have also studied chemical engineering, what kind of jobs they are doing, and also how's the UK market for that, you know?
Yeah. Well, chemical engineering is amazing in terms of job opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Living alone, all the people who've done chemical engineering and just moved to investment banking, naughty, naughty. But if you want to pursue a
Mm-hmm.
technical career path, chemical engineering gives you primarily four options, and that's
Mm-hmm.
already a lot. And those are the big options. Let me start with the first one. First one is oil and gas,
Mm-hmm.
right? So oil and gas, you know how to operate a refinery theoretically, right? You know how to operate oil plant and a gas plant. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a first massive career pathway that people can pursue in chemical engineering. Second one is pharmaceuticals. So people who are passionate about saving the world through giving people new cancer drugs or drugs that help them live a better quality of life. That's the second pathway
Mm-hmm.
because we are taught how to design and how to correctly formulate drugs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a second pathway, which is also grandiose. Third one is renewable energy. And renewable energy, in a sense, I think is largely focused on either nuclear, battery-led renewable energy sector, or indeed something to do with solar thermal or solar technology. The fourth one is food. So food and beverage systems. So because you know how to, yes, that probably sounds very, very bad because we are engineering food. No one should engineer food. Food just should be there, growing for
Yeah.
us. But yeah, food and beverage. So being able to design a food processing plant, beverage plants that are sort of needed everywhere in the world. Yeah, people
Yeah.
like to eat and drink.
Yeah.
So that's the fourth massive career option that comes out of chemical engineering degree. And yeah, and of course, those finance bros and investment bankers, it's also an amazing opportunity to go into because the degree is so highly mathematical
Yeah.
that people are hunted down
Yeah.
for those jobs.
Fair. Very fair. Um, I guess we covered it pretty much. I don't know if you have anything else extra to say about chemical engineering and your degree, but I feel like we did a kind of a good job covering that. Let's focus more specifically on your field and your
Yep,
company and also
sure.
yourself, your career, right?
Whoa.
Um, you currently work at Naked Energy Ltd as a
Yep.
senior development and operations engineer. Can you tell us more about your company and also what your current role entails? What do you do in your job?
Well, I'm gonna rumble on this one because I love what I do and I love what the
Take
company
your time.
does. Naked Energy is a startup that started in 2012. So if you do the math, it's not really a startup, but we are, and we are manufacturers and designers of solar thermal technology that's not any ordinary solar thermal technology. It's innovative solar thermal technology that provides more heat and power than conventional solar thermal systems. And it's also very aesthetic in terms of how it looks and could be used in architecturally difficult environments. So what we do, because our solution is modular, so imagine a Ford modular system of operation, but a bit different. We can be installed on many, many, many roof geometries, which gives us that competitive advantage over other panels on the market because we can fit in more collectors in given space and given roof area. And that's if the listeners are interested in that side of sort of logistics and just operations, roof space is the limiting factor. Roof space is what defines how many kilowatt hours you can install in the field, and we win in terms of our modularity, in terms of our output, because our output is greater per meter squared than any other panel, and that's why we get commercially attractive solution to the customers. What we do, we are currently focused on only large commercial spaces such as leisure centers, hospitals, hotels, and places that require a lot of heat. We are currently not looking to expand into domestic market because we're a bit too efficient for a simple semi-detached UK home that is classic here. But yeah, currently we've installed our biggest installation yet, which is in the heart of King's Cross, and I'm really proud of that. And it's an amazing application as well for the heat that we are producing and for the energy and for the kilowatt hours that we are producing. Me continuing rambling on,
Take your
we
time.
have two products. we have two products,
Mm-hmm.
and one is solar thermal only, so it doesn't have any PV element to it. Even though solar thermal, you might think, oh my God, we are producing electrical energy. Solar thermal only, which involves a collector um, being encapsulated in a glass tube. That's how our product looks, and that glass tube is mounted on a support system and then mounted on a roof. And if you were to explain how it works to a 5-year-old, which I'm just 6, so I've been taught this last year. Uh, um, it's basically a large heat exchanger.
Mm-hmm.
So it attracts sunlight. It attracts sunlight and converts that sunlight into useful heat,
Mm-hmm.
which is conserved in a fluid circulating through that collector.
Mm-hmm.
And then that fluid leaves the collector and goes to a real heat exchanger, then can actualize that heat for your hot water applications, your hot water tap, or your direct feed to your swimming pool, a direct feed to your heat pump. For example, if you have a combined system design, so it's just a big. Once again, if we were explaining in simple terms, it's a big metal collector that's when sunlight hits it and when sunlight is incident on it, it
Mm-hmm.
attracts it
Mm-hmm.
by the choice of materials that we use, and converts that heat that sunlight gives us into usable hot water and steam. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And well, so your job is senior development and operations engineer. So like, what do you do in your job? What does it entail?
Because I work in a startup, I do everything and anything at once, which is amazing because I love variety, and I'm
Yeah.
the kind of person who never is never content with just one thing that she's doing. So primarily, what I do is I help with testing the product and making it better and more efficient, or more resistant to changes in supply chain. So that's what I do in the development sphere of things. I work on the product directly, test it, and make sure that it's um, harsh weather resistant. I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that whatever we claim on our specification sheets and in our pitch decks is true. So I confirm that data. My second field of work is data analysis. So I go around and collect data from our current sites and analyze it and make sure that everything is working as prescribed, as we have designed. And if it doesn't, then I feed it back to our team and we take remedial action. And a third thing that I do is operations. So anything to do with logistics, supply chain management. That's what I do daily. So maybe those are broad terms and need to be expanded. So logistics, I make sure that something that has to be in locality B will be in locality B at the time discussed. In terms of supply chain management, it's basically negotiating with suppliers that either supply your support systems, supply your glass, supply all the bits and bobs that go into the product, and I manage those relationships and make sure they're seamlessly integrated into our business functioning. The fourth thing,
You're one
list
person.
goes list goes
Yeah,
on.
segment.
The first thing I do is a bit of thought leadership and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my own podcast. I run it under Naked Energy's
Mention the
brand.
name of it. Mention the name, please.
So the name is Hot Stuff.
Okay.
And we talk about solar thermal. We talk about the industry in terms of policy making opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
how the industry is developed in the UK and worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring the most amazing guests to the show, which I'm very lucky to say agree to that adventure, agree to that ride. And so a bit of marketing, and also I go and help Naked Energy put out information about our products and what we've developed in different conferences and congresses and places where I could spread the word about solar thermal and teach people about it.
Nice, nice. And well, you mentioned so many things that I don't know how your work-life balance is. Like, do you how your like normal week? How many hours do you work?
Mm, I would say I make sure that my work-life balance is existent,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the one thing that I would love people to learn, and if that's the only outtake out of this whole podcast, if you learn how to time manage yourself, and if you learn how to automate some processes, you're gonna have the most amazing work-life balance coming out of your job. So I work normal hours. So if I do need to stay over time, I do, but that doesn't happen every day, which is good because that means that my time management strategy is working. And in terms of outside of work, what do I do? I have, once again, love the variety. So currently I'm very into sports and boxing and tango, and I love that side of my life, but also
Mm-hmm.
I love the cultural experiences that London has to offer. So
Mm-hmm.
you would find me in a museum, new art gallery, opera, so all those
Mm-hmm.
things that this amazing city has going on. And of course, social life, no one said anything about that, but yeah, work-life balance could
Like
be
normal 9 to 5, I'm
not.
guessing. Okay, generally,
Yeah,
and no weekends.
no, I'm currently in the office on the weekend, but that's just because I had to do a project, and obviously I had to meet you. So yeah,
Okay,
that's the
okay,
exception.
good. Um, and how did you like come to work at Naked Energy Ltd? Like, how did you discover the company? What drew you to the company?
I was in my second year of uni,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wanted to see if engineering is for me, or I need to sell my soul and go into finance. So I decided to find an internship, and I've been looking online in, on innovative startups that work and develop something in sustainability sphere. And one of the first names that popped up was Naked Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to give it a go, just reaching out to the email on the website. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, if you are a fresh grad and you're looking for a job, there is nothing wrong with just reaching out directly to the company because they might be not advertising a role, but they would be so welcoming of
Mm-hmm.
internships or any other opportunities that you would
Mm-hmm.
like to take.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be scared to reach out, and always try and be persistent on
Mm-hmm.
what you want and what you
Mm-hmm.
want to where you want to get in life. So I reached out and I asked about any internship opportunities, and they had one, and I was like, well, would you like to interview me for it? And an amazing colleague of mine who is currently a CTO interviewed me and gave me a background story of Naked Energy, and told me about what the job will entail, and asked about my experiences and what I can bring to the team. So I started as an intern in my second year
Mm-hmm.
of my chemical engineering degree. And 2 years after that, after me completing my degree, they kindly offered me a full-time position as a development and operations engineer. And they knew that they had to give me a versatile job because they knew my personality, that I could not possibly be doing 9 to 5 of just one single task.
Yeah.
So they kindly offered me a position which was versatile and was amazing in fulfilling my career um, aspirations and helping them develop
Mm-hmm.
develop the company.
That's really cool. Really cool. And You mentioned already, you said you guys developed two products. You mentioned one of them, I believe. I'll ask you about the second one, but you said, so from my limited research, I came across a product called VirtuPVT, and which is a hybrid solar panels that simultaneously generates electricity and heat, right? Without giving the trade secrets, obviously it's your product, but
Exactly.
can you explain in simple terms how the YouTube PVT technology works and what sets it apart from conventional solar panels?
So, first thing that I get so worked up about is that when people compare solar thermal to solar PV, because these are completely, I would say,
Mhm.
different concepts, and they work differently, and they deliver different things. So, yes, we have our innovation is VirtuPVT. PVT stands for photovoltaic thermal.
Mhm.
So from the name, it's a hybrid product that
Mhm.
delivers thermal energy. So
Mhm.
just the one, just like our thermal only product, Virtu Hot, and delivers thermal energy through hot water fluid that then passed on to heat exchanger, like I've explained previously. But also it delivers electrical energy through photovoltaic component that is placed on top of the thermal collector.
Mhm.
Once again, without giving out patents and trade secrets, it's basically silicon PV that is adhered to the thermal collector, and when the sunlight is incident on the collector, silicon absorbs sunlight, converts it into absorbable current, and then delivers it to a junction box and then to an inverter into usable form of electricity.
Mhm.
And the thermal part, the sunlight penetrates further and delivers hot water through thermal exchange between the materials, and you can use it for, once again, heating up your hot water tap, swimming pool, etc.
I see. And it's obviously beyond my scope. I don't fully understand every aspect of it, but so the technology you guys have, like, is it? I'm guessing it's very novel technology in the renewable energy sector. Do you guys have a major competition in the UK, or are you guys kind of like one of the leading makers of this product?
So we have a few competitors
Mm-hmm.
in the market that are profound players that not only design solar thermal technologies, but also boilers and subsequent technologies that heat up your homes or heat up your commercial spaces. And we are competing against ourselves. Yeah, we are trying to grow at our own pace and looking back at our past successes and past failures. So we are competing with ourselves. We are obviously looking for ways to innovate and be on the competitive edge of research and competitive edge of technology development, if you're asking about that. But without giving advertisement space for our competitors, we are doing quite well on the UK market, and we are looking to penetrate globally. We are currently set up a manufacturing. We're currently looking to set up manufacturing in the US, and we are partnering with an amazing company called ELM that distributes our products. So we are conquering the US market as well as a local home UK market.
Okay.
So hmm, so that's that. And in terms of what's so special about our products, we are placed in a vacuum. So our collectors are in the vacuum. And if you are familiar with physical attributes of a vacuum, vacuum limits convective and conductive heat losses. So that means you are retaining heat for longer, and that means more heat transfer can take place, making us more efficient. So that's the innovation that we are possessing at the present moment.
And in terms of purely energy outputs, how does Virtu? I know you said you had to make the distinction between the conventional solar and the VirtuPVT, but like in terms of energy outputs, how does VirtuPVT panels compare with conventional solar panels in real world conditions? Like how much more energy do you guys produce compared to?
Once again, I get really upset when people start comparing solar thermal to solar PV because, first of all, yes, we might use the same conventional units like
Mm-hmm.
watts or watt peaks, but it's completely different because we're delivering thermal energy as well as electrical energy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say we are. Mm, mm. Once again, difficult to compare because for the same irradiance, so for the same amount of sunlight, we produce dual power, we produce heat and electricity, and per meter squared, we are winning the solar PV because once again, because of duality of our
Mm-hmm.
energy and because of space requirements.
I
Yeah.
see. And you mentioned one of the challenges was, like for example, with the normal domestic houses. You said it's like the you're
Too
too
efficient.
efficient for that. So similar to that, what do you believe is the biggest challenge in mass adoption of
Mm.
your product? You know, like one of them you said is that you're too efficient for domestic stuff, right? So what are the other challenges?
Not enough roofs. No, I'm joking. I would say, depending on the climate, right? So
Mm.
you are unlikely to install um,
Solar
our
panels
system
in,
in Arctic
obviously, yeah,
region,
yeah,
right? Because, or maybe Arctic would be actually very nice because of the irradiance that it gets in early mornings and when it's summer in there, right?
yeah.
Um, I would say in terms of limitations is just social public perception of the technology. So
Hmm.
getting through to people to get them to understand that heat has to be decarbonized, that
Hmm.
heat is a massive energy requirement in
Hmm.
everyday life, in every commercial space, in every domestic space. And we are providing a viable solution to decarbonize it, to
Hmm.
provide renewable energy for 20 plus years.
Hmm.
So I would say just societal uptake of the technology has to improve, and we are doing everything in our power to change that perception through marketing, through thought leadership, through educating people that heat is a massive CO2 emitter. 50% of all global energy requirement is heat.
Hmm.
So, people turn a blind eye to emissions from that, and they just focus on grid and
Hmm.
electricity and other maybe steel producing
Yeah.
plants or cement, etc. Heat has to be focused on in the next decade if we really want to reach net zero. So just perception is the biggest challenge.
I know one of the things I've heard, and I don't, I don't exactly know the facts behind it, but I think one of the concerns with wind turbines was that it affects the bird populations. It kills all the
Yes,
birds.
the ecosystem. Yes.
Um, so, do you guys are there similar problems with solar energy panels?
No. First of all, we don't disturb any.
No, not your product. I'm not talking about your product. I'm talking about solar panels in general.
Right. Well, silicon, right? Silicon is non-renewable resource, and that could be a limitation. In terms of other things, largely currently there are no harmful chemicals in the solar panels, so that's
Mhm.
safe. One thing I would say that's currently difficult in terms of solar panels or solar thermal is disposal, because
Mhm.
silicon is very hard to dispose of
Mhm.
in terms of recycling opportunities or reuse. And that I would say that's the only difficulty if we're talking about circularity of the industry. Yeah, how easy it is to get from step A to step B and be mindful of the environment every step of the way.
Hmm.
That's that's the biggest problem
That's
with
a big.
solar PV or solar PVT.
I see. I see. And what project or aspect of your work at Naked Energy you're the most passionate? I mean, you mentioned you sound like you're passionate about everything, but you're most passionate about. And also, are there any upcoming innovations or projects at Naked Energies that you're particularly excited about?
Definitely not telling you anything about the second question. That's a big trade secret. But first one, I do put a lot of passion in my job. I love what I do. I think what I'm currently most passionate about is Naked Energy moving towards ESG focused mindset of business operations, and I'm helping the business with ESG strategy and developing it from scratch for the company, for us to go through and become more ethical, more sustainable in all our operations and all our business functions, which is
Hmm.
amazing. I'm very passionate about it, and it's a big undertaking. We already had many ethical, sustainability minded um, things in our business, but we just need to look at it from the outside perspective and package it all up as the whole holistic thing. And I'm helping do that. So that's the most exciting part of my job currently.
Sounds great. And any major innovations you expect in renewable energy? Because there's been a lot of emphasis, especially because of the climate change issues and they're like natural disasters, right? To make
Mm.
more improvements, significant improvements in renewable energy. Do you, from your research, from your conversations, do you expect major innovations in the coming 10 years or so?
Yeah, I think there would be a massive shift in storage opportunities of
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, developments in phase change materials that
Mm-hmm.
could be applicable in battery storage or similar storage opportunities would be groundbreaking and would be leading the way in terms of how we talk about renewable energy and how we talk about distribution of that energy. So I would say storage systems,
Mm-hmm.
either phase change materials or advancement in conventional lithium batteries that have innovative ions that sort of work alongside lithium would be the most maybe a decade worth of development in the next 10 years. In terms of the big focus right now and where I see the market going, it's largely focusing on hydrogen and hydrogen-based fuel cells and distribution of hydrogen as a potential energy source. So there's a lot of infrastructure being built for that, and I would say that the biggest mm, hyped renewable energy source of the next 5 years definitely is hydrogen, and I'm looking forward to see how global community reacts to it and how it makes it safe for
Mm-hmm.
the public. Yep.
Um, Kind of random question. I think recently in the US there was a fusion experiment that was kind of successful.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm actually really curious about fusion in terms of obviously nuclear to see
Yeah.
how that works and micro generation and fusion, little fusion cells that are nuclear in localities of Switzerland somewhere. But also, yeah, fusion experiments in terms of heavy hydrogen
Mm-hmm.
is really exciting, really scary for me personally, but super interesting. Yeah.
I think it's technically safer than fission, right?
Mm. Um, there are risks associated with both. Fission is much more chaotic, yes, much less controlled, but yeah, both possess potentially disastrous outcomes.
Okay. Um, what's like one? I guess you're working with solar energy in a lot
Mm,
for years now. What's
yeah.
fun or surprising fact about solar energy that most people might not know?
Well. And now I put my granny glasses on because of my decades of experience.
Uh,
No, actually, the fact that I was surprised to learn is that solar thermal is one of the oldest, types of energy in the world.
mhm,
Because a guy that I won't name, I'm sorry, maybe I should have prepared better. A guy in the US took a black metal box
mhm,
and filled it with just water and
mhm,
placed it onto his roof
mhm,
in glorious sunshine,
mhm,
and understood suddenly that it actually a very feasible way of heating up water for other uses. And then he connected that further to a water tank to store it, to store that
mhm,
heat.
mhm.
And that's how solar thermal was developed 300, 400 years ago.
That's really cool. Um, I guess you had a really informative, personal informative conversation, and I learned a lot about your sector, about yourself
I
too.
hope so.
Yeah, I did. Um, I guess any final words of wisdom, advice, tips for our viewers?
Yeah, I have a few. Don't take any because this source of information is very very questionable, I would say. But I'll honestly, from personal or professional perspective of mine,
Mhm,
never stop trying new things. Never stop questioning of what you do. Never stop inquiring about things that interest you, that ignite your passion. So be open-minded, be ready to learn, and be open to opportunities, because you never know what that opportunity that you are saying yes to could lead to potentially. So I would say my biggest word or phrase of wisdom: be open-minded, be open to the world, and try new things. And that will not only show you what you can do with your career, but also build you up as an amazing individual that's open to the world and open to experiences around him or her.
Great advice. Thank you so much,
I
Mash.
maybe that was too generic, and that's a
No,
really
I mean, I think it's
horrible
very,
piece of advice, but genuinely,
I
genuinely.
think it's very applicable. And knowing you, I think you're giving us solid advice. Thank you so much, Masha, for your time.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate having you on, and hopefully I'll see you at some point in person.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. US is not that far. Come
Yes,
on.
yes, I
I
will.
would love to show you the collectors in person, and
Wait,
I'm
you're trying
actually
to sell you're trying to sell me products now.
yes, I am. Maybe I should move into commercial team, honestly.
Yes, yes.
But thank you. It was a great pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor. And knowing some of your previous guests, I'm not too sure how I landed this amazing opportunity.
Oh,
So
come on.
thank you.
No,
Thank
don't even
you.
say it. Don't even say it.
And good luck with your position in Yale. I'm very excited to learn about that as well.
Thank you, Masha. Take care, all right?
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Bye.